Chapter 1. A Stranger in England. Derek Mutongu stepped off the train into the chilly city of Bath, England, carrying little more than a suitcase and a dream. He had traveled all the way from Zambia to study at the technical college. Everything felt unfamiliar: the weather, the accents, even the silence of the streets at night. Loneliness settled over him quickly. During his first week at school, a few Christian students approached him warmly. "Would you like to come to church with us this Sunday?" one asked with a smile. Derek hesitated. He knew little about Christianity beyond what he had heard growing up, but he longed for friendship in this strange land. So he went. The church members welcomed him like family. Soon he was invited into homes for meals, laughter, and conversations about life and faith. For the first time, Derek encountered Christians whose lives reflected genuine love. And slowly, the message of the gospel began to change his heart. Chapter 2. The Message That Changes Lives. Over several weeks, Derek listened carefully as Christians explained the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The message was simple, yet powerful. God loved the world so much that he sent his Son to save sinners. One evening, after reading Scripture and praying with friends, Derek surrendered his life to Christ. Everything changed. He became passionate about sharing the gospel with other students. His faith grew quickly, and people noticed a new joy and confidence in him. Later, Derek continued his studies at Imperial College in London. There he witnessed the strength of Christian student fellowships and how God used students to influence entire campuses. A dream began forming in his heart. What if this happened in Zambia too? Chapter 3. Returning Home. When Derek returned to Zambia, he carried more than a university education. He carried a mission. Supported by IFES, he became the first staff worker of a growing Christian student movement. At the University of Lusaka, he began gathering students to study the Bible, pray together, and share Christ boldly. At first, the meetings were small. A few students gathered under trees. Others met quietly in dorm rooms. But God blessed the work. Soon the movement spread rapidly across campuses. Students encountered Christ everywhere, from lecture halls to cafeterias to crowded hostels. Within a few years, nearly a tenth of the university students in the country identified as Christians involved in student ministry. The gospel was transforming a generation, and word eventually reached the president himself. Chapter 4. The Palace Invitation. One afternoon, Derek received an astonishing invitation. President Kenneth Kaunda wanted to meet him at the presidential palace. Derek's heart raced as he entered the grand building alongside leaders from the student fellowship. The president looked at him thoughtfully and asked, "What is this message you are preaching that is turning the university upside down?" Derek shared the gospel simply and honestly. He spoke about Jesus Christ, forgiveness, hope, and transformed lives. As the president listened, tears filled his eyes. "This," he said softly, "is the message our culture needs to hear." Then President Kaunda gave an unexpected request. "Return in 2 weeks and bring the other student leaders with you." Chapter 5. Preaching to a Nation. 2 weeks later, Derek and the Christian student leaders returned to the palace. But this time, they were not meeting only the president. The entire Zambian cabinet had gathered. Government ministers, officials, and national leaders sat listening as ordinary university students boldly preached the gospel of Jesus Christ. The same kindness shown years earlier to one lonely foreign student in England had now opened doors to an entire government in Africa. Derek realized something profound. God often changes nations by first changing one heart.